Crafters. In tonight's video, we're going to have two cards for you. This first one is using the Florals and Blooms Designer Series paper and the Thanks Sentiment from the Velvet Meadows Photopolymer stamp set. And this second one is using the Velvet Meadow Specialty Designer Series paper and the Cheering You On sentiment from that same stamp set. Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan Simple Papercrafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now, my next video is going to be July 5th, and I will take it every Sunday from that point until August. Now let's turn the camera down and we'll get started. For the first card, we use the Velvet Meadows Photopolymer stamp set, and we simply use the Thanks sentiment. We don't have anything in the inside, so you've got all this room to write. And then we use this stamp, and this one twice. For the background paper, we use the Floral Blooms. This right here. And then this is the other side. This one went right here. Then we use the Timid Tiger for the cardstock. We didn't use any of the Floral Meadow dies, but we did use two dies from the Sweet Woods Labels dies. We used this largest one in here and the second largest one. So that's just to insert. And this is what we use: basic gray for the Thanks, the Granny Apple Green for the leaves, the Timid Tiger for the center of the flower, and Darling Ducklings for the flower. And for our gems, we used the 25-27 in color flat pearls, and we used the Timid Tiger. For our next card, we're going to use the Flowering Meadows once again, and we'll use that same stamp. And we're going to use the same stems, but we're going to change out the sentiment. The sentiment is going to be cheering you on and so many reasons to celebrate. And for the paper, we're going to use the Velvet Meadow. That's the background paper. Here's the other background paper. And for the cardstock, we're going to use the Berry Burst cardstock right here. I went ahead and cut everything down to size, so we're going to go ahead and discuss technique. What we'll do first is die cut our two pieces that we need. And we're going to take this, and we're going to use this sandwich. We're going to use a number 1 plate, that's this one here. Then we're going to take a number 2 plate, use the one that's all etched up, and then we're going to put our paper down. Then we're going to take that largest die, and we're just going to put that on there. And this piece is the same size as our piece right here. And that is 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches, or 7.6 centimeters by 10.8 centimeters. Then we'll put this on there, and we'll go ahead and crank that out. We'll just set that aside for right now. Then we're going to use our smaller die, and we're going to put that on here. And you're going to need a piece that's about 2.5 inches by 3 inches. And let's turn it this way. And we'll just crank that out. That's all we need for our cut and emboss. So we'll put that away. Then we want to do our sentiments. So this one, we're going to bring in, this is our Stampin' Pierce mat. And our sentiment is going to be this one here. We want to do the Daffodil Delight first. Then we'll do our Peaceful Pine. And this is the newest one. So it's magnetic, and this is a foam sheet rather than this one, I believe, is felt. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our Daffodil Delight. Then we'll do our Peaceful Pine. sorry about getting my head in here. I want to get this lined up here. You see that right there? We want to line it right into there, and the base right there. Pretty good. Then we need to do these branches. I'm going to bring this down here, touching that stem. And then we'll take this one up here and we'll touch that stem up here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' scrub, and we're going to scrub these. I'm just going to take this mist, Stampin' mist. We're going to spray this here. And this has a raindrop here, so I remember that this is the wet side and this has a sun drop, so this is the dry side. And we're going to go ahead and just clean these real quick. And let's bring this back in here. Then we're going to bring in the basic gray to do the sentiment. This is cheering you on. And I'm just going to move it around. You don't want to get a divot in there. There we go. I'm going to get my head in the way again. Sorry about that. There. Then we need to bring in our Berry Burst to put our center in. Oh, I've got quite a bit there. I'm going to get my head in the way again. There. And then I'm going to close this up. And then our last sentiment is for the inside of the card. We have this piece that's cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4 or 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters. And we're going to put so many reasons to celebrate. And I want to have that center there. All right, I'll close this up too. And I'm going to bring in our Stampin' scrub again. Now remember I said that this was the wet side here. So we'll just scrub this one. Then we'll bring in our silicone mat. And we're going to put glue on this and glue that together there. And this is the glue that we're going to be using today. It's Tombow monoliquid glue, and I have it in this glue gun. This is not a Stampin' Up product. This is my Sweet Petunia glue gun, and I can refill these bottles with our glue. And I'm using this because I have arthritis, and it's difficult for me to squeeze these tiny bottles. This handle here allows me to squeeze it really easily. I'm barely squeezing at all. Look at how well that comes out. And then we're just going to glue that down. And then we're going to go ahead and put our dimensions on there. And we're going to use these small ones. And I'm just going to put them in the corners here. I like to put a lot on because I don't want it to go all wonky when it goes through the rollers at the post office. And this is about 1 cent per every 2, so it's not really that much. I'm going to go ahead and just set this side here while we bring in our card base. This is cut at 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches. And that would be 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. I've already scored it at 4 1/4 inches or 10.8 centimeters. And as you can see, there's like a little divot there. And I'm just going to fold away from that divot. Let me get my bone folder to burnish this. And I like to burnish it on both sides to give it a nice crisp edge. Now we'll put some glue on that. And then we're going to leave an 1/8 of an inch for a border on all 4 sides. And that's going to be 0.3 centimeters. And I'm just going to bring my bone folder in and just get those glue bubbles out. Then we'll bring in our pieces here that we've already cut out. This is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches or 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters. And we're going to put glue on the back of that. And we'll leave an 1/8 of an inch for a border on all 4 sides. Again, that's going to be 0.3 centimeters. Now this paper has a little dimension on there. It has some velvet. These white flowers have velvet in them. So I'm going to put the bone folder on the inside of the card so I don't scrape off that velvet. And we'll bring our next card base. And this is 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches, or 7.6 centimeters by 10.8 centimeters. And then this is another piece to that designer series paper. And it's cut at 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches, or that 7.0 centimeters by 10.2 centimeters. And it has that white velvet on there as well. And we're going to make it 1/8 of an inch for a border on all 4 sides. And I'm just going to take your pick tool and get that little pick out. And I see a little bit of fuzzies here. I just want to get those off from there. There. And we'll put this on the back side again to get the glue bubbles out. Then we're going to glue this down onto our card base. And we're going to leave about 3/4 of an inch to the border, I think it is. There we go. I'm just going to center it. Let's bring it inside again. Then we've got this. And all we need to do is take off those paper backings. And then we'll just center it right here. There, that looks really great. But we're not done. We're going to put some gems on there. Let's see if I can't find those. We've got these right here. These are the 26, 28 in color dots. And let's see, let's use, what do you think of that? That is our Barely Blush. Or we could use our pine. Let's do the Peaceful Pine. I'm going to do one right here. And we'll do one up here. And another one up there. All right, I think we are done. Let's bring in our other card. I hope you liked this project as much as I did. As you can see, you can use just about any designer series paper for the background. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you've enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji, which means you like it, and would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Mark your calendars. I'll be back in 2 weeks on Sunday, July 5th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we'll be doing something from the May to August 2026 catalog, and I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.